So good morning again, everyone. This is Louis from Extinction Rebellion London. We are here in Parliament Square. This morning's action this is day 2 of the 2020 rebellion. Yesterday was day 1, which was back the bill. Yesterday was really about calling our MPs and letting the MPs know that there is a bill called the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill. It's a document that Parliament understands and government understands to act on. So making it easy for them. Remember, the bill is not something created by Extinction Rebellion. It's been created by scientists and environmentalists and policymakers, and it gives the government something to work with because they're used to working with bills. But we are here at Parliament Square, where again, the rebels are coming down. I'm going to swap over to that side very briefly. You can see in Whitehall, which is the street that leads to the Prime Minister's headquarters, number 10 Downing Street. That is being taken because we need the Prime Minister to listen. We need the government to listen, to realise that the pandemic, it's just a small manifestation of problems that we face with the climate emergency. People's lives have been disrupted, with lockdowns, but it is minuscule compared to the problems that we face when, if we don't stop climate change and climate chaos. So good morning, those just tuning in. This is Extinction Rebellion London, and this is Doctors for Extinction Rebellion. It's the climate corpses. This signifies the potential for millions and millions of people to be displaced, to be damaged, for harm to be caused to them, and that harm will be caused, or can be caused, already is caused in many places in the world, but we are trying to prevent it. That harm can be caused by climate spiraling out of control. We've heard about the tipping points. We are not there yet. We do still have the power to change these things, and we will, because we are amazing creators of reality. We choose every single day, we choose what our present and what our future is going to be. Bonjour à vous. Mark says best wishes, docs. Yes, so we have the Doctors for Extinction Rebellion over there. People are still getting ready. And remember, we want to live, but we don't just want to be alive, we want to thrive. We want to have and life is amazing. We all know this. Life is the best game in town. And the planet is beautiful. We're still very lucky in parts of London where we still have these ancient, beautiful oak trees. But these aren't oaks, actually. Good morning. But the police, again, they are standing between the people and Parliament, which is a bit symbolic, and we'd like the police to stand with us and make it easy for us to access Parliament. So yes, there's still people coming down from all kinds of different directions. There's indeed support needed. So if you're in London, this is the rebellion is in Manchester. Well, it's actually international, all over the world. But with this particular event is in Manchester, Cardiff and London. So we have doctors here, that will be talking a little bit about, why the climate emergency is a medical emergency. We're talking about life. We're talking about people's livelihoods. We're talking about people's homes. And there is no planet B. Yes. This is a great planet. It's a planet that has human beings on it. It's got coffee. It has chocolate. It has stand-up comedy if you're into that. So this is really a good place to keep going. Let's keep the party going. Yes, it's got Scotland. This is the only planet that has a Scotland. And amazing mountain ranges and seas and corals. So yeah, this is the Extinction Rebellion, the doctors for XR. But we do need rebels on the street, because the Prime Minister is coming back today for Prime Minister's questions, and today Caroline Harris will be the bill will be tabled. That is the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill, and we will find out today around 4 o'clock how that came down. But let's go and find out. The sound of the rebellion is there with the drums.
One. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
Thank you.
We are gathered here today as doctors and as nurses and as healthcare professionals. We are here to talk about the climate and ecological emergency. Today we are marking the deaths of all those people who have died and will continue to die as a result of climate change and ecocide. Ecocide is the destruction of the natural environment. We are here as memorial. We are here as a warning. We are here in solemn commemoration. Today I will ask doctors and nurses the specifics about the deaths of the people that they have cared for. The deaths of those people you see lying before us now. At the end of this, I will ring the bell to say that all is finished. But up until then, if you would be respectful to listen to the cause of deaths of all those that you see around.
Yes, for those just visiting or just watching, please share this on all your channels. You can also start up watch parties.
Of lung disease, cancer, heart disease, asthma and dementia. A study last year reported 64,000 deaths a year in the UK that can be attributed to air pollution. A warming climate will lead to increases in the severity of air pollution. Those living in areas of high air pollution are at greater risk of dying from COVID-19 and influenza. Mary Naira, director at the World Health Organization, warned that we must rapidly transition to renewable sources of energy, or morally be responsible for millions of deaths worldwide.
Doctor, do you think that the people that you have cared for died as a result of climate change and the ecological emergency?
As a nurse, yes, I do. I am a dementia specialist nurse, and people are dying with dementia as a result of air pollution.
There were also studies that showing that children that grow up in cities where there's pollution, for instance in the United Kingdom, in London, they have lower lung capacity. The body does have the ability to recuperate
Doctor, what
if
would
we
you
make
like to say?
the environment good for it.
I would like to talk about COVID-19. These people here They died of COVID-19, a zoonotic disease thought to be caused by human activity destabilizing the ecology of bats. The number of deaths have been influenced by nitrogen dioxide air pollution and the availability of public health care resources, with poorer communities in poorer countries suffering the greatest. Climate change, along with biodiversity loss and intense farming methods, are combining to cause unpredictable and unstable conditions, ones that are perfect for new diseases to emerge. There will be more pandemics. The increasing risk of pandemics like COVID-19 is predicted.
And Doctor, do you believe that COVID-19 was contributed to by climate change and the ecological breakdown?
I do.
And Doctor, what would you like to say?
So as a nurse, I would like to say that my patient over there actually died of anthrax, which was released from the melting permafrost. So we know that climate change is melting the permafrost, and these are soils that have been frozen for thousands of years. In August in 2016, a 12-year-old boy died of anthrax in a remote area of Siberia, and several people were hospitalised because of that. So the theory is that over 75 years ago a reindeer died of anthrax and its carcass was buried beneath the surface. That is until the heat wave that we had in 2016, when the permafrost melted and that carcass came up to the top. It infected the soil, it infected the water supply, it infected 2,000 reindeer that were grazing nearby, and it also cost the life of a 12-year-old boy. So as the earth warms, that we know that the permafrost will melt more, and we don't know what viruses and bacteria will be released.
Nurse, do you think that the climate and ecological emergency has contributed to these deaths?
Absolutely it has, and I think we need to realise that not only has it happened in a remote area of Siberia, but in our global world, we know that people travel, that these diseases could travel worldwide. COVID-19 has taught us that very much.
Thank you.
So they're talking about the tipping points. These are tipping points that we're trying to prevent.
Dear nurse, please tell us about the patients that you have cared for.
These people died of poisoning from organophosphate pesticides, which is known to cause degenerative neurological conditions, Alzheimer's, cancer, cancers like lymphoma and childhood leukemia. I'd like to share a poem by Drew Dellinger. What did you do once you knew? It's 3:23 in the morning and I'm awake because my great-great-grandchildren won't let me sleep. My great-great-grandchildren ask me in my dreams, what did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unravelling? Surely you did something. When the seasons started failing, surely you did something. As the mammals, reptiles and birds were all dying, surely you did something. Did you fill the streets with protest when democracy was stolen? What did you do once you knew? As a nurse, it's my duty to warn of this growing public health crisis, which will affect us all. It is affecting us all now, all over the world. I stand here not as a protester, but as a protector of the earth and an advocate for future generations.
Do you think the deaths of the patients that you cared for was contributed to by the climate and ecological emergency that we are witnessing?
I am certain that this is the case.
Thank you. Please tell us about the patients that you cared for.
All these people died from malnutrition due to loss of pollinating insects, depletion of fish stocks, soil infertility, flooding and drought. In 2017, Michael Gove, then the Environment Secretary, warned that the UK was 30 to 40 years away from the fundamental eradication of soil fertility. We have encouraged a type of farming which has damaged the earth. Last year, the United Nations warned that climate change threatens the world's food supply. They reported that land and water resources are being exploited at unprecedented rates. Combined with climate change, this is putting dire pressure on the ability of humanity to feed itself. 500 million people already live in places turning into desert, and soil is being lost between 10 and 100 times faster than it is forming. Climate change will make those threats even worse as floods, drought, storms, and other types of extreme weather threaten to disrupt and over time shrink the global food supply. Already, more than 10% of the world's population remains undernourished. As a doctor, it is my duty to warn of this growing global public health crisis which is affecting us all. I am acting on science and conscience. I stand here not as a protester, but as a protector of the earth and my communities.
Yes. It's to all the earth protectors. You can go to stopecocide.earth.
Do you think that these patients and people's deaths have been contributed to by the climate and ecological emergency?
Yes, they have died of starvation.
Thank you.
So we already know in many cities there's even food deserts.
Please tell us about the patients that you've cared for.
So the people I cared for died of social conflict and of war, from gunshot wounds, from strangulation, head injuries and hemorrhage. Last year I attended a talk by a doctor from Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders. She described the humanitarian work they carry out, which is increasingly linked with climate change. She also warned how countries are responding by firming up their borders and closing so that refugees can't cross, and also stopping humanitarian workers from crossing as well. So she spoke of the war in Syria, which was preceded by 2 years of drought, and they think that that played a part in one of the tipping points that led to civil war. And as we know, that led to, mass migration. And in Europe, Médecins Sans Frontières were involved in rescuing refugees from the sea. They were giving them safe passage to the shore with their boats. That is until European borders closed to them, and they had to abandon their operations. MSF know of 350 men, women and children who died in the sea as a result of that decision. So I have a poem by Warsan Shire. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see your whole city running as well. your neighbours running faster than you, bloody breath in their throats. The boy that you went to school with, who you kissed dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. You leave home when home won't let you stay. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of a gun. And no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the oceans, drown, save, be hunger, beg, forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until a sweaty voice in your ear is saying, leave, run away from me now, because I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here. As my nurse, it is my duty to warn of this growing public health crisis, which will affect us all. I am acting on science and conscience. I am standing here not as a protester, but as a protector of the earth, of my community, and of all that I love.
Nurse, do you feel that the refugee crisis that we're witnessing worldwide is contributed to by the climate emergency and the ecological breakdown?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So those who are just joining, this is Extinction Rebellion London. We are in Parliament Square, and this is an action. This is an action by Extinction Rebellion doctors, Doctors for XR.
20 years as a nurse working in hospices. I've seen many, many people die.
Please share.
And some deaths are unavoidable. But the deaths here today are avoidable. And I have a duty to tell you that. I'm not very comfortable standing here in front of you all, but I have a duty of care to tell you that these people died unnecessarily. There's a poem that gave me hope when I was working as a hospice nurse, when I sat with the dying and gave comfort to some of my patients, and I would like to read it to you today, if that's okay. It comes from the American First Nations people. And I live in a very beautiful part of Britain. I'm so lucky, and this also reminds me of the beautiful spaces that we have around us and how much I want to keep those. This poem is called In Beauty May I Walk. In beauty may I walk, all day long may I walk. Through returning seasons may I walk. Beautifully will I possess again. Beautifully birds, beautifully joyful birds. On the trail marked with pollen may I walk. With grasshoppers about my feet may I walk. With dew about my feet may I walk. With beauty may I walk. With beauty before me may I walk. With beauty behind me may I walk. And with beauty above me may I walk. With beauty all around me may I walk. In old age, wandering on a trail of beauty, lively may I walk. It is finished in beauty. It is finished in beauty.
So those just joining, this is Extinction Rebellion London.
Doctor, tell me about the patients that you have cared for.
We are here at Parliament Square, but we also have rebels on the streets on the other side. We really need you to come
Global
down.
Witness estimates that at least 4 Indigenous people are killed each week while defending their natural environments. They are defending their land. They are defending their drinking supplies and the forests that supply our oxygen. On top of this, their elders have died in high numbers due to COVID. They suffered disabilities and early death, having been exposed to chemicals sold to them by agro-industry that are so unsafe that they have been banned in Europe. They are earth protectors. I am a conscientious protector. These deaths are avoidable. We need to act now. I'm here because I have hope. I have hope that we can do things differently. I am a doctor, but above all, I am a conscientious protector. It's my duty to be here.
Thank you. So we just want to remind those, we also need people to continue to hold the streets.
I am certain.
So there's rebels over there.
Thank you.
Come on down to Parliament Square. Parliament Square is a great place to be, but also we need more people to hold the site.
These people died following climate catastrophe. Access to medical care is limited. There are women and babies dying in childbirth. People dying from infections, stroke, diabetes, things we used to be able to cure easily, but now we have no access to medication. Some may think that speaking of untold human suffering and societal collapse is being alarmist, but the science says different. The science is shouting, raise the alarm and act. This is an emergency. In 2018, the UN IPCC report warned we have 12 years to limit climate change catastrophe. We've wasted 2 of them. In 2020, the prominent investment bank, JP Morgan Chase, sent a report to its clients warning that climate change could have cataclysmic effects on the markets and the rest of civilization too. In the report, they stated that we cannot rule out catastrophic outcomes where human life as we know it is threatened. As healthcare professionals, it is our duty to warn the government and our communities that inaction will lead to the loss of countless lives. Ecocide is the extensive damage, destruction, or loss of ecosystems. It is inextricable from the climate change emergency. The climate and ecological crises are health emergencies. We urge the government to listen to the scientific and health community. Act now to protect our health and well-being. I will close with an excerpt from Christina Figueres, the chair of the IPCC committee that negotiated the Paris Agreement, and Tom Rivett-Carnat's book, The Future We Choose. Our current crisis requires a total shift in our thinking. To survive and thrive, we must understand ourselves to be inextricably connected to all of nature. Natural scientists have provided ample evidence that we've reached several planetary boundaries beyond which Earth's biosystems cannot sustain life. Our new intentional direction must move us beyond defeatism to optimism, beyond extraction to regeneration, beyond linear to circular economies, beyond individual benefit to common good, and beyond short-term thinking to long-term thinking and acting. We stand here as conscientious protectors.
Thank you. Thank you, conscientious protectors. You can go to the website stopecocide.earth and become a conscientious protector.
Are you certain that these deaths are as a result of the climate and ecological emergency that we are witnessing?
The science is absolutely clear. Climate and ecological emergencies will cause more and more deaths unless we act now.
Thank you.
So those just tuning in, this is Extinction Rebellion London. We are in Parliament Square, which is directly across the United Kingdom Parliament.
And now I would like to read the solemn intention statement from Extinction Rebellion. Let's take a moment, this moment, to consider why we are here. Let's remember our love for this beautiful planet that feeds, nourishes, and sustains us. Let's remember our love for the whole of humanity in all corners of our world. Let's recollect our sincere desire to protect all this for ourselves, for all living beings, and for all generations that will follow us. As we act today, may we find the courage to bring a sense of peace, love, and appreciation to everyone we encounter, to every word we speak, and to every action that we make. We are here for all of us. We are Extinction Rebellion. And now, I would like you all to join us for a minute's silence in remembrance and reflection for all of those that have died and will die in the future of climate change and ecocide, the destruction of the natural environment around us.
Let us awake, for goodness sake. It's important because there's life at stake. So everyone open your eyes. We don't only want to live, we want to thrive. We don't want to be alive, we want to thrive. And we have the opportunity, we have kind-hearted, good doctors, we have scientists, we have humanity. And we know we can do this. It's just we need to choose. Every day we choose our reality. So hi, would you like to say something on the camera? Yeah? Okay. So we're just with the doctor here. Would you like to tell me why are you here today?
I'm here because people are dying because of the climate and ecological emergency. It's happening now. It's not just something that's going to happen in the future. I'm a nurse. I've worked in the NHS for over 30 years and I can see the changes happening over that time. It's definitely killing people right now, right here in the UK. We need to act now.
It's all preventable deaths.
Indeed, all preventable.
And everyone has also seen how beautiful it's been during the time that, when cars went on the roads, the noise pollution went down, that reduced stress, it reduced anxiety, and also, the air quality was so much cleaner. So it's not only something that we have to do to prevent bad, but we gain clean air, we gain clean skies, we gain clean water. So, and that is really an important part of health, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we can do it. We can definitely do it. We've seen how people can change very rapidly and actually enjoy that change. I really appreciate it's been difficult for many, many people during the recent pandemic, but they haven't seen anything yet. The numbers that died during the COVID-19 pandemic, it will be that on an annual basis and more as we go forward, and it's starting already. People are dying now.
But we can change it.
We can indeed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so so for those just joining, this is Extinction Rebellion London, we're in London. This is at Parliament Square, and this was actually called climate corpses. But these are all corpses that we are trying to prevent. These are in the future. It's not only predicted in the future, but there's already now people that are dying in areas of of drought, food crop failing. But these are things we can change. Some of it is already too late, and we'll have to adapt. So for that, we need a regenerative culture. There's enough for everyone's need. There's just not enough for greed. That's a very important thing to understand. There's so much abundance. There's so much beauty in this world that we can, when we share it. So, but we also need. You'll see. There's. I'm going to swap over to the other side. We do have rebels, and we do have the police presence still here. But we ask everyone to come on down. Yeah, this was quite a heartfelt action by XR doctors, because they are warning. They are warning of already in London. London has been breaking the EU targets on air pollution every single day last year. This day we had a small reduction in pollution, but it turns out there's about 100 companies that produce 70% of the CO2 emissions. So it is not just individual actions. We do need to completely transform our industries. And now is a great time. We've had a time to pause and reflect and remember that we are part of nature. We are nature itself. And we can restart in a clean and green way. Hi, how are you doing? Good, good. Would you like to say something on camera?
Maybe not. Sorry.
Yeah, so we have doctors here, doctors and nurses, and they've just done this action where they explained, that there are people already dying. There are people dying from lung cancer. Contributing factors: air pollution, fossil fuel particulates. There are people dying from hunger around the world, which again is prevented. We can prevent that. We can regenerate the soil. The scientists and farmers know how to do this. If you're a farmer, you can look at XR farmers. If you're a doctor, you can look at XR doctors, doctors for XR. But again, it's a beautiful day, and people are still arriving. It's still early time. But make sure you share this video. So just click the share button and share it with your friends. You can also do watch parties, but share it with your friends and share it with your family. If you know anyone who's a doctor as well, share it with them. Okay, so what I might do is I'm going to take a short break, because we're sure there's going to be action soon again. But remember, you know, again, there's people dying already, asphyxiation by drowning. That is due to extreme weather events, flooding, you know, hemorrhage from gunshot wounds, and that's from war, social conflict, climate disasters. The doctor spoke about, you know, Syria. Most people do not know that Syria was, the 80% of the export was from agriculture before the droughts. And when droughts happen and people lose all their income, problems start occurring. So it's very important for society, but also for resilient societies, you know, ones that are not just focused on money, but actually focused on care and focused on welfare of its people. Yeah, so I'm going to take a short break while everyone is just recovering for a little bit, and then we'll be back with you soon. We are all crew, indeed. Remember, everyone is crew, so you don't need any permission. Just come on over and let's continue spreading the good news that we can do this. So just for everyone to know, there's all kinds of different actions happening today. But today the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill is going to be presented it's going to be tabled in Parliament. And then at 4 o'clock we will find out what they think about it. For those who don't know what ecocide is, if you go to stopecocide.earth, over there you can also become a conscientious protector. You know that you would have heard that many of the doctors here, you know, they're acting out of conscience, and they're also conscientious protectors. So for now, thanks so much. Thanks for watching. But long live rebel life. Yes. Let's have some fun.